Welcome to this deep dive. We're tackling a fascinating case study today, the journey of Kylie Jenner.
Mhm.
Most people know the name businesswoman, beauty mogul, social media titan,
Right.
but we're going beyond the headlines to explore the real story. How did she actually achieve this level of fame? What were the key elements of her background?
Yeah. And what's the deeper story behind being labeled one of the youngest billionaires, that whole narrative?
Exactly.
So you've provided us with an English learning story that gives a really comprehensive overview of Kylie's life.
Yep.
And our mission today is to really dissect the pivotal moments, the influences, and the strategic decisions that shaped her trajectory.
From like a young member of a super famous family.
Right, to a global brand powerhouse. It's quite a transformation.
Okay, let's unpack this starting right at the beginning. Kylie Kristen Jenner, born in Los Angeles, August 10th, 1997.
And even from the get-go, her family situation was, well, anything but ordinary, wasn't it?
Not at all. Her parents are Caitlyn Jenner, the Olympic gold medalist,
From the 76 Olympics decathlon, yeah.
and Kris Jenner. And it's also worth noting Chris's previous marriage to Robert Kardashian.
Who, as you know, was a really prominent lawyer, especially famous for his involvement in the O.J. Simpson case.
Right. So that immediately places Kylie within this very large, very, very public family sphere.
Absolutely. You've got the half-siblings, Kourtney, Kim, Khloe, and Rob Kardashian.
Plus her full sister, Kendall Jenner.
So growing up with that level of constant media attention and, the inherent wealth and privilege.
It's almost impossible for most of us to really grasp what that kind of childhood entails. So different from like normal school days and playing outside.
It creates a very, very distinct foundation, and this dynamic was amplified significantly in 2007.
Keeping up with the Kardashians.
Exactly. The show debuted, and Kylie was just 10 years old at the time.
10. And already part of this like groundbreaking reality TV phenomenon.
The concept was simple enough: cameras following the daily lives of the Kardashian-Jenner family.
And it just took off, didn't it?
Right.
Became a cultural phenomenon almost instantly.
It really did. People were drawn to the drama, the parties, the fashion, the evolving relationships, all of it.
And Kylie's initial portrayal on this show, it was quite different from her older sisters, right?
Yeah, the source material describes her as more reserved, often kind of in the background, quiet and shy.
But as the series progressed, we saw a noticeable shift.
Definitely. Her personality started to emerge more. She clearly gained confidence in front of the cameras.
And her personal style began to take shape. You could see it developing.
Right. And even at that young age, she was connecting with viewers, building her own dedicated following, kind of separate from the broader family fan base.
And while all this was happening on camera, she was also attending school, initially at Sierra Canyon, which is a private institution.
That's right. But as her involvement in modeling, various business ventures, and, her commitments to the TV show grew.
It became too much for regular school.
Seems so. She transitioned to homeschooling to accommodate that increasingly demanding schedule.
And she eventually graduated through a homeschool program in 2015.
Yeah. And even back then, it seems pretty clear she had this strong desire to carve out her own identity.
To be more than just Kim Kardashian's younger sister.
Exactly. To be recognized for her own thing.
And we saw that ambition manifest pretty early on, didn't we? In her professional life.
Yeah, modeling campaigns, and then that Kendall plus Kylie fashion line.
Right, which got into major retail stores,
Mm.
clothes and accessories.
So she was actively working to establish her own footing, her own brand, even then.
Definitely. But this leads us to a really, really pivotal moment where things just seem to accelerate massively.
Yes. The lips.
The lip transformation. This became such an intense focus of public attention when she was a teenager.
Huge. Her lips noticeably appeared fuller, sparking just widespread speculation and endless discussion online and in the media.
And initially, she denied it, right? Contributed the change to makeup techniques.
Yep. The classic overlining trick. But later, of course, she admitted to using lip fillers, a cosmetic procedure.
And this is the fascinating turning point, isn't it? Instead of trying to deflect or minimize the change.
She saw an opportunity, a massive business opportunity.
Right. She recognized the intense, sustained public interest in her look.
And very astutely realized there was a substantial untapped market for the kinds of products she was using to achieve that look.
Wow. That insight was the direct catalyst for Kylie Cosmetics.
Precisely.
So 2015, that's the launch year.
Yeah.
A watershed moment.
Absolutely. And the debut product was the Kylie lip kit.
A curated set, right.
Right.
Liquid lipstick and a matching lip liner.
Mm-hmm. And the way it launched exclusively online through her own website.
Created an immediate sensation.
Explosive is probably the right word. That initial inventory sold out in literally less than a minute.
Less than a minute.
Yeah, it was an instant overnight phenomenon. And you have to remember, Kylie was only 18 years old.
18, it's incredible.
So this wasn't just like a successful product launch. It really signaled the beginning of her ascent as a major force in the beauty industry.
The start of the beauty mogul journey.
Exactly. Though, as the source material wisely points out, this initial triumph didn't guarantee a smooth ride. Challenges were definitely ahead.
Okay, so these lip kits were clearly a cultural moment. But how do they build on that initial buzz? How did it become a lasting beauty empire?
Well, Kylie and her team built upon that initial success with remarkable strategic precision, actually.
Okay.
Kylie Cosmetics rapidly diversified its product line. They intelligently moved beyond just the lips.
Right. Makes sense. You can't just sell one thing forever.
Exactly. So we saw the introduction of highly anticipated eyeshadow palettes, shimmering highlighters, blushes, concealers.
The whole face, basically.
Pretty much. And of course, a continuous stream of new lip products, different shades, different textures, different formulations.
And crucially, the source mentions that the phenomenon of rapid sellouts for each new product launch became like a consistent thing for the brand.
It did. It was a hallmark. Maintaining that level of intense consumer demand consistently is quite a feat in itself.
So what were the core elements fueling that sustained success? It couldn't just be the products.
No, I think a dominant factor was undoubtedly the immense power of Kylie's personal brand,
Right.
which was inextricably linked to her exceptionally savvy use of social media.
She was ahead of the curve there, wasn't she?
Definitely. She strategically positioned herself as the central, most compelling element of the brand's appeal. Platforms like Instagram, Snapchat, later TikTok, they weren't just ad channels.
No, they were like direct lines to her audience.
Exactly. Unfiltered communication. Her strategy wasn't just traditional celebrity endorsement. She was the influencer for her own brand.
Cultivating that direct relationship. The essence of influencer marketing, really.
Precisely. She bypassed traditional media gatekeepers. She'd frequently showcase her own makeup application techniques, like in real time, online.
Which creates that sense of authenticity, doesn't it? Even within her super glamorous life.
It does. It feels relatable somehow. And the metrics are compelling. By 2018, she already had over 100 million followers on Instagram.
Wow. A leading global figure on the platform by then.
For sure. And that direct personal connection with her very engaged fan base directly translated into a massive, loyal customer base for Kylie Cosmetics.
And it wasn't only her own content-driving engagement, was it? The source mentions collaborations, too.
Absolutely. She skillfully leveraged the power of collaborations. The source highlights several really successful ones.
With her sisters, right? Kim, Chloe, Courtney.
Mm-hmm. And also with her then close friend, Jordan Woods.
Ah, yes.
These special limited edition collections generated significant buzz and, predictably, sold out incredibly quickly.
Because fans were interested in the family dynamics, the relationship.
Exactly. It added this extra layer of narrative, of story to the product launches, made them feel like events.
Then came a really significant development on the business side of the deal with Coty Inc. in 2019. That felt like a major turning point.
It was a landmark strategic decision, absolutely. Selling a 51% controlling stake in Kylie Cosmetics to Kashi, an established beauty giant.
For how much again?
Around $600 million.
Wow.
Which placed the total valuation of the company at nearly $1.2 billion.
And this is the transaction that led to that Forbes magazine cover, right? Declaring her the youngest self-made billionaire at 21.
That's the one. And as the source correctly notes, that label ignited huge global media attention and considerable debate.
Yeah, the whole self-made discussion, given her family background.
Precisely. People had very strong feelings about whether that term really applied.
But, I mean, regardless of the semantics, the numbers are undeniable, aren't they?
They are. It was an incredible achievement, transforming her name and image into a billion-dollar brand in such a remarkably short time frame.
Undeniably. However, it's important to acknowledge, as the source does, that this period of explosive growth wasn't without its challenges.
Oh, definitely not. There was intense public scrutiny.
Like the Jordan Wood scandal, for example. That played out very publicly.
Yes, that whole situation involving her close friend and her sister Chloe's partner, it put Kylie in a really difficult spot.
Navigating loyalty, public perception, tricky stuff.
Very. And beyond that specific event, there was ongoing online criticism about changes in her appearance.
Right. The cosmetic procedures discussion never really went away.
No. And persistent skepticism about whether the brand's success was solely down to her family's fame.
And even some questions from within the makeup industry itself about product quality and innovation.
Yeah, the source mentions that too. But despite this constant barrage of scrutiny, Kylie seemed to maintain a really steadfast focus on her business.
She kept driving the brand forward.
And amidst all these high-stakes business deals and the intense public glare, there were also profound personal life changes happening.
Motherhood.
Exactly. Her pregnancy with Travis Scott in 2017, she was only 20.
And she kept it private initially, which was pretty amazing given the level of scrutiny.
It really was. The birth of their daughter, Stormy Webster, in February 2018 was obviously a deeply significant personal milestone.
And she eventually shared it, but in a very specific way, didn't she?
Yeah, that YouTube video to our daughter, it was fascinating, very intimate, very carefully curated.
It offered a really different perspective, didn't it? More vulnerable.
It did. It showed a more emotional, mature, and frankly relatable side of Kylie.
Which clearly resonated with a lot of people.
Deeply, I think. It contrasted sharply with her often highly stylized online persona and really highlighted the transformative impact of becoming a mother.
And she started sharing glimpses of her life with Stormy on social media after that.
Yes, carefully selected moments showing her love and devotion. It added another dimension to her public image.
And her relationship with Travis Scott that's been kind of closely watched and a bit up and down, hasn't it?
Indeed. Their on-again, off-again dynamic has constantly been a subject of media attention and speculation.
But they seem to maintain a close co-parenting relationship for Stormy.
They do, demonstrably so. And during this period, Kylie kept expanding her business empire.
Right. Kylie Skin launched, moving into skincare.
A strategic venture into a huge competitive market. And we also saw further diversification into baby products, other lifestyle items.
Signaling a broader vision for the Kylie brand overall.
Definitely. It felt like a conscious effort to build something beyond just makeup.
And there were also efforts to position the brands as more, maybe, ethically conscious.
Yes, the source mentions that. Greater emphasis on cruelty-free formulations, vegan ingredients in some products, more sustainable packaging.
Moving towards a brand that's not just trendy, but also responsible.
That seems to be the goal. It suggests a strategic evolution. So, reflecting on this period, it's genuinely remarkable what she accomplished by her early 20s.
Building a billion-dollar brand, becoming a mother, being on reality TV for over a decade.
And inspiring or at least influencing millions globally. It's quite something.
So, as the source points out, as she moved into her mid-20s, The questions about her future, personally and professionally, became really interesting.
Absolutely. Which brings us to chapter 3, focusing on that interplay of fame, family, and the future.
And it sounds like this is where she really solidifies her status as a major, enduring cultural figure.
Exactly. The source emphasizes her evolution from just being a celebrity to heading a truly global brand during this phase.
Which means even more media scrutiny, right?
Oh, yeah. Intensified focus on pretty much everything, her appearances, her fashion choices, which often set trends.
Social media posts, the relationships, everything.
Everything. And public opinion remained really polarized. Passionate admiration on one side, often harsh judgment on the other.
Yet her online presence stayed incredibly active and very carefully curated.
Meticulously curated is a good way to put it. Consistently showcasing that blend of aspirational glamour and carefully chosen glimpses of family life.
And her mastery of social media as a branding tool really shines here, doesn't it? The source called her Instagram page a polished digital magazine.
That's a great analogy. She used it not just for promotion, but as a visual narrative, sharing makeup looks, outfits, travel, family moments.
Creating this powerful sense of direct connection with her followers.
Fostering real emotional investment. It became about more than just buying products. It was about buying into the whole Kylie lifestyle and persona.
But the source also digs into the downsides of that extreme visibility.
Yes. And importantly, Kylie herself started talking more openly about the challenges.
Growing up in the public eye, navigating adulthood under that constant glare.
Exactly. Through interviews, documentaries, she discussed the harshness of public opinion, especially about her appearance.
And addressed those criticisms about being inauthentic or too young for her success.
She even shared vulnerabilities, struggles with insecurities, the journey towards self-love, offering a more human side.
And this period marked a gradual shift towards more authentic online content, maybe less perfectly polished.
Yeah, a noticeable shift. Occasional makeup-free appearances, more reflections on motherhood, personal growth. It felt like an evolution.
Interesting. So less curated, maybe a bit more real. What about the business side during this phase?
Still growing. Both Kylie Cosmetics and Kylie Skin saw ongoing development, new collections, a stated focus on improving quality.
And that emphasis on ethical considerations continued.
Yes, cruelty-free ingredients, vegan options, more sustainable packaging. It seemed like a strategic move towards being both relevant and responsible.
And personally, another huge life event, her second child.
Yes, the announcement of her second pregnancy with Travis Scott in 2021 generated a lot of interest.
Followed by the birth of her son in February 2022.
And the whole name situation, initially Wolf Webster, then the change to Air Webster in March 2023.
That definitely got people talking. Public excitement about her journey as a mother of two.
And this second experience seemed to further shape her perspective, didn't it?
In what way?
The source suggests an even greater focus on her children's future, the kind of world she wants for them.
A deeper desire to be a positive role model for Stormy and Air.
Exactly. More emphasis on inner confidence, kindness, hard work as the true measures of beauty and success, not just external appearance.
And this evolving personal philosophy seemed to align with her business expansions too.
Like Kylie Baby.
Precisely. Launching a line of safe, gentle baby care products, shampoo, lotion, bubble bath.
A strategic move directly tying into her role as a mother.
And Kylie's skin kept growing too. New face masks, eye creams, body scrubs.
Yeah, indicating a sustained commitment to growing that part of the empire.
But it wasn't just beauty and baby products anymore, was it? She started engaging more seriously with high fashion.
Yes, a significant increase in her involvement there. Attending major fashion shows, Paris, Milan, New York.
Collaborating with, being dressed by big-name designers.
Her bold, varied fashion choices generated a lot of media attention, solidifying her as a major style icon.
But amidst all this public activity, there also seemed to be a conscious effort to protect her private life more, especially the kids.
That's a crucial observation. A clear shift towards more privacy for her children. Fewer photos, fewer details shared publicly on social media.
A more selective approach compared to the early days of keeping up.
Definitely. A distinct contrast. And her participation in the new Hulu reality show, The Kardashians, also seemed to reflect this.
How so? Was she sharing less on the new show?
The source suggests a more measured, controlled sharing of her private life, learning to navigate that balance between fame and privacy.
And during this time, she was also getting more hands-on with her brands.
Yeah, increased personal involvement in the visuals, the design, experimenting with new product ideas, marketing strategies.
And hints of future ventures beyond beauty and skincare.
Subtle hints, yeah. Fashion, wellness, other areas maybe. The overall sense is someone actively planning for the long term.
Building a lasting legacy, not just riding trends.
Exactly. And really evolving beyond just being Kim's little sister. Establishing herself as an independent woman, own voice, own business, own story.
Okay, so Chapter 4 really zooms in on the power of Kylie's influence, framing her as a symbol of this new era.
Absolutely. A symbol of a new kind of fame, beauty, business. This blend of personal style, family, motherhood, and entrepreneurship.
And one of the most transformative aspects has to be her impact on beauty standards, right? The lip phenomenon.
It's almost hard to overstate that impact, taking a personal insecurity about her lips.
And turning it into the foundation of Kylie Cosmetics.
Exactly. And that had a massive ripple effect across the whole beauty industry. Other brands followed suit. Influencers jumped on the look.
Popularizing her makeup style on YouTube, TikTok. She became a huge trendsetter.
A major one. But it wasn't just what she sold, it was how she sold it. Her marketing approach was revolutionary too.
Right, shifting away from traditional ads.
And becoming her own primary marketing tool through social media.
Mastering that direct, personal online engagement, influencer marketing 101, but she basically wrote the playbook for celebrity brands.
She really did, setting a precedent for so many others.
But this huge influence also sparked important conversations, didn't it? About beauty standards and the pressure that creates.
It absolutely did. The Kylie look, full lips, smooth skin, long lashes, sharp cheekbones became so influential.
Leading to debates about the pressure on young people, especially girls, to conform. Filters, cosmetic procedures.
And divergent perspectives emerged. Some saw as empowering self-expression.
While others worried about unrealistic, maybe unattainable beauty ideals.
Exactly. And Kylie's responses often emphasize personal choice, her own journey with self-esteem.
Reminding people that beauty is also about how you feel inside.
Right. It's a complex conversation she definitely ignited.
Beyond beauty, what about her involvement in philanthropy or advocacy?
The source notes her support for various causes: wildfire relief in Australia, hospitals during the pandemic, supporting women entrepreneurs.
Using her platform for good.
Yeah, and also raising awareness about mental health, the pressures of social media, things she has direct experience with.
Which ties into how she reshaped celebrity culture itself, doesn't it? Breaking down those traditional barriers.
Absolutely. Providing this unprecedented access or perceived access to her life via social media and reality TV.
Cultivating that sense of connection, that emotional investment from followers.
So many fans feel like they've grown up alongside her in the public eye. It's a unique kind of relationship.
But, as the source points out, there's a price of hypervisibility.
A very real price. Kylie herself has talked about the constant pressure to look perfect, to always be on.
The exhaustion of maintaining that constant online presence.
Which led to her trying to establish more boundaries, taking breaks from social media. It highlights the challenges of modern fame.
And motherhood seems to be a key guiding principle now.
Consistently presented that way, yes. Emphasizing it as her most important role, influencing her decisions.
So looking at her current influence, her future, she's clearly a massive, enduring force.
Undeniably. Over 390 million Instagram followers by 2024, A vast beauty empire, multiple brands. She's one of the most influential young women globally.
But the source argues her impact goes beyond just numbers, right?
Yes, it's about evoking emotions, inspiring people, challenging norms, starting conversations. Her influence on beauty, fame, business is deeply embedded in pop culture now.
And as she enters her late 20s, what's the speculation about her next moves?
Continued expansion, maybe into fashion or wellness, or perhaps pulling back from the spotlight a bit. It's hard to say.
But her adaptability, her ability to learn and evolve, seems key to her lasting influence.
Absolutely, positioning her as this symbol of modern success rooted in continuous growth and reinvention.
Okay, so reaching our final chapter, let's distill the key lessons from Kylie's journey. The source frames these not just about fame or money, but about growth, decisions, identity.
Exactly. And the first big lesson is confidence.
Despite those early insecurities about her lips, growing up in that beauty-focused family, maybe feeling overshadowed.
She made that pivotal decision to take control, build her own identity, turning that perceived weakness into the foundation of Kylie Cosmetics. That takes courage.
It really shows how challenges can become opportunities. What's lesson 2?
Taking risks. Starting a business at 18, no formal training.
Just trusting her instincts, using the tools she had, social media, creativity, fan connection.
Right. And the immediate success of the lip kits selling out in under a minute, that validated the risk.
And probably fueled more confidence, more growth.
Definitely. It shows the value of just trying, even if you don't feel totally ready.
A great message. Lesson 3 revolves around family, which is obviously huge in her story.
Huge and complex. That famous family gave her platform, yes, but also intense scrutiny.
Navigating the she only succeeded because of her family narrative, the self-made debate.
Constant complexities. But she ultimately forged her own path within that spotlight. The source also touches on evolving family dynamics, changing friendships.
And the central role her own children now play as inspiration.
Exactly. Defining her identity within and sometimes apart from that powerful family brand.
Okay, lesson 4, imperfection,
Mm-hmm.
which feels really relevant today.
Very. Despite the seemingly perfect online image, Kylie's been increasingly open about struggles, anxiety, body image, trust issues, public criticism.
It's a crucial reminder, isn't it, that social media isn't the full picture.
Not even close. And her advocacy for self-love, acceptance beyond just appearances, that's an important message.
Absolutely vital. What's the 5th lesson?
Adaptability, key to her sustained success. Continuously innovating beyond lip kits.
Listening to feedback, learning from mistakes, expanding into skincare, baby care.
Responding to trends, staying relevant, it highlights the need for lifelong learning and adjustment in any field.
That agility is definitely crucial. And the final lesson.
Authenticity, or perhaps the evolution of authenticity.
From maybe being seen as just a pretty face initially.
To gradually opening up more about her emotions, motherhood struggles, growth. Evolving from just an image to a more relatable voice.
Which arguably strengthened her connection with her audience.
I think so. It makes the journey feel more human.
So these aren't just abstract business points. They're real-life lessons, aren't they?
Exactly. The source connects Kylie's experiences to broader themes. Self-belief, starting small, learning from setbacks, using your resources, embracing imperfection.
Underscoring the power of sharing your story, your ideas.
And encouraging you, the listener, to find inspiration in diverse journeys, even famous ones. The final message is really empowering for whatever you're pursuing.
This has been an incredibly insightful deep dive into Kylie Jenner's multifaceted journey. We've covered her origins, the rise of her empire, navigating fame and family, her cultural influence, and those key lessons.
Confidence, risk-taking, family dynamics, imperfection, adaptability, and authenticity.
It really drives home that even huge success stories start with personal journeys, ups and downs, and often small steps.
Exactly. And our hope is that you, our listener, will take some time to think about how these insights might resonate with your own life, your learning, your projects.
And on that reflective note, here's a final thought to contemplate. Given how fast social media and celebrity culture keep changing, how do you see the next generation of entrepreneurs and influencers emerging? What completely new models of success might take shape as these platforms continue to evolve?